Welcome back. Now, Jehovah Witness headquarters has directed that the 120,000 congregations around the world can now resume in-person meetings from the 1st of April 2020, depending on the respective government regulations. This was a momentous occasion for the 8.6 Jehovah Witnesses and 6 million plus people that associate with them globally, because of our 33 church buildings have not been used since 2020 till since March 2020 until April 1st, 2022. Now, they've only started using video conferencing platforms for worship and praise during that time. Now, today, Jehovah's Witness will commemorate the death of Jesus. Now, with more details on this, I'm now joined by their spokesperson, Sheldon Greenwood, that is for Jehovah Witness Namibia, to share more light on this commemoration that they will be having today. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning, Lot. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's talk about Jehovah Faith Witness-based organization. What is all that about?
Okay, so Lot, as you mentioned, we are 8.6 million around the world. We're Christian. We're a Christian organization, and we are not-for-profit organization. So that means that there's no one in the organization that receives a salary.
Okay.
So many wonder now what motivates them to do what they do.
Yes.
Well, basically it's love. And so one of the main operations of the organization is to engage in the preaching work. And really our goal is to reach every single person on the planet with the good news about Jehova and his son Jesus. And so in Namibia, we're 2,700 Jehovah's Witnesses. And last year we spent about 400,000 hours in reaching people voluntarily. But in addition to that, when we meet people, we find that people are of a different language. And so love also motivates us to engage in a translation work. Now, currently, we have a Bible translation that takes place. In fact, we've translated the Bible in about 150 different languages. And then a segment of the population that's left out is the deaf community. And in the deaf community, we translate about 106 different sign languages around the world, including Namibia Sign Language. And then our website, jw.org, that is translated in 1,056 languages. So that's the world's most translated website. The next website is Wikipedia, which is about 300 languages.
Okay. Interesting facts. Now let's talk about the fact that, you mentioned that, this organization is not for profit. Let's talk about the last 2 years, how that has impacted Jehovah Witnesses in Namibia during the fact that there was no face-to-face interaction, and what are some of the lessons learned from that?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, in March 2020, we got a directive from our headquarters where they said that the 67,000 kingdom halls, church buildings as we know them around the world, in Namibia we have 33, that they will remain closed until further notice. So what that meant was we had to transition to some way of, of worshiping. So it's almost like a journey, the journey continues, but the mode of transport changes.
Yeah.
So what we did is we transitioned to video conferencing. And in the last 2 years, none of our congregations in Namibia have missed a meeting. So, of course, some of the challenges with that is that you have a lot of older people. Now they've got to get used to this, this form of attending meetings and so forth, muting, unmuting, and it produced quite a few incidences and humor. As far as the lessons that are concerned, one of the things that we learned is the importance of obedience. So obedience to our headquarters, but also obedience to the government and the regulations. For example, wearing masks, washing hands, sanitizing, and social distancing, and also vaccinations. So, we know it's a personal decision, but many of our Jehovah's Witnesses, they have voluntarily decided to take the vaccination. Another lesson that we learned is during the pandemic, you quickly learn, what is important in life. What should be a priority. In addition to that, the thing that we learned also is to appreciate our in-person meetings. And of course, everybody was excited. We couldn't wait, to get back to in-person meetings.
Okay, let's talk about the fact now that the headquarters has given directives that all the congregants worldwide, approximately 120,000, can resume. What does that mean for Namibia? Will it be business as usual?
Well, Jehovah's Witnesses are known for their public ministry. That is going from house to house and, of course, sharing the message with people. In 2020 March, that was also stopped. Now we can resume in-person meetings, but our public ministry is still in suspension until further notice.
Okay.
So what we are doing now, we use different forms of reaching people. We've been using the telephone, we've been using letter writing cards, even some I've used social media. The result has been that even though we're not meeting in person, we've had a 4% increase in meeting attendance from 2019 and up till now.
Okay, so there are some benefits. Let's talk about the recent special talk that was given. Where can we find real hope on the 10th of April?
Yeah, you just read the news now, and we know that often when we hear the news, there's a lot of bad news. Today, there's so much inequality. You know, I was just reading a statistic the other day. The 8 richest people have more money than the poorest 4 billion people combined. Now, how is that going to be redressed? We think about suicide. In Namibia last year, in 7 months, 281 people committed suicide. So we can see clearly people, they feel hopeless, and so they need hope. Now, for a hope to stabilize an individual, it mustn't be wishful thinking. It's got to be, there must be a solid basis for the hope, and it must be based on evidence. So what the talk did is it gave evidence why the Bible is a solid basis for getting our hope. And the 2 lines of evidence basically was, number 1, science. So when the Bible touches on science, it's completely accurate. You know, as an example, a small thing like the water cycle. 3,500 years ago, one of the prophets in the Bible wrote about the water cycle in 2 verses. But scientists only found out about the water cycle 200 years ago. So that's just one instance. And then the other line of evidence was prophecy. So we know that the ability to foretell the future, that is something that man cannot do. But there are hundreds of prophecies in the Bible that have actually been fulfilled. And so those 2 lines of evidence help us to see that really the things that the Bible speaks about for the future that must still come, that they will take place because of that solid basis.
Okay. Now, as we conclude our interview, and in your final, perhaps, tell us how you'll be commemorating the death of Jesus Christ today.
Last year, we had 21 million people that joined this commemoration. And this year, what we're going to be doing, we have 47 congregations in Namibia. And basically, we are going to relive the last night of Jesus, his life. And on that night, one of the things that he said, in fact, he commanded us, he said, keep doing this in remembrance of me. And so this year, it falls on today. We're going to have just an hour-long discussion. And in that discussion, we're going to discuss things like, why did he have to die? You know, who benefits from it? And how can we show appreciation? So anybody who wants to join is free to do so. It's completely free. There's no registration that takes place. So all you have to do is you go onto our website, jw.org, and when the website opens on the home page, you'll find there's a tab that says Learn More. Click on that. Then another tab appears, Find a Memorial. And you just type in your language and your area, and it will direct you
to the local one.
Yeah, to the local one.
Okay, no, thank you. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we had, but we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Lord.
Okay. Now, that was Mr. Sheldon Greenwood, the spokesperson for Jehovah's Witness Namibia, sharing to us about how the institution has recovered from COVID-19, and also talking to us about their plans when they have with regards to the commemoration of death of Jesus later today. Now,